Hello there, welcome to Nerd World Empire and the biography of the Xindi scientist who created the weapon to destroy Earth and wipe out humanity in one foul swoop. We have the Xindi primate scientist known as Degra. If you've not already, there is a full series on the Xindi already uploaded as of the uploading of this episode, and probably more since if you're watching at some point in the future. It's linked probably in one of the corners. There are also many other Star Trek videos on this channel, as it's turned into pretty much a Star Trek channel, predominantly anyway. So like, share and subscribe, comment down below on anything you have to say on this character, and let's just begin. Degra was a Xindi primate. As mentioned, there were 5 surviving races of Xindi. Allegedly there may have been 6. There were definitely 6 at one point. He was of, as I said, the primate. The primates were the most near human in appearance of the species, although had some facial characteristics in common with the reptilians and with the arboreals in particular, but as a species they were the closest to humans. They were known for being level-headed. Degra was a very rational, very intelligent, highly respected scientist. To quote one of the Xindi counselors, when Degra spoke, only a fool didn't listen. And it was probably true. He was a gifted scientist and engineer, although he, like many Xindi, was misled by the trans-dimensional beings simply known as the Sphere Builders, or as how they would eventually be known. They were convincing the Xindi and Degra to build the weapon to destroy Earth, to wipe out humanity before humans could prevent them, centuries in the future, from fulfilling their plans of converting parts of, if not the whole Alpha Quadrant, into trans-dimensional space for them to inhabit. Now, this plan, of course, was flawed, but he believed it wholeheartedly. Now, being a family man and coming from a race who had already lost their homeworld, believing that humans were going to destroy them, he was seduced into this fantasy. He had already deployed a weapon against Earth, but was in the process of building another one as of 2153, which was the larger, more effective weapon that would destroy Earth completely, when the NX-01 Enterprise was sent into the Delphic Expanse, the region of space where the Xindi lived, to thwart his efforts. He was actually amongst the members of the Xindi Council who cautioned against destroying Enterprise immediately, believing that if they destroyed Enterprise, humanity would send more ships and they'd have more of a problem to deal with, whereas right now, although humans may suspect the Xindi, they didn't actually know how to find them, and they just needed to monitor the Enterprise. He was a cautious individual by nature. As stated, he was a family man. He was married to his wife Nara and had 2 surviving children with her, Paral and Jaina. They had a 3rd child, Trinia, but unfortunately that child passed away. As Archer and the crew of the Enterprise would ascertain, he was an extremely gifted and intelligent individual. His area of expertise, of course, was weaponry. In conjunction with ideas and technology given to them by the Sphere Builders, they were able to build a Xindi weapon that would be able to destroy Earth. Without their assistance, the Xindi, as intelligent and as capable as they were, would not have been able to actually build the weapon, but he was the architect behind this mad dream of the Xindi. But eventually, after some contact with humans, and Archer persuading him that actually they were being misled, being the rational, level-headed scientist who was able to factor in new evidence to his belief system, not just dogmatically stick to whatever beliefs he already had, he was able to understand that they were being lied to, and that the Sphere Builders were not all that they claimed to be. And through him, as a conduit, surprisingly, to the rest of the Xindi, humanity was able to open up a dialogue with the Xindi, and at least 2 of the other states immediately decided that destroying Earth was a bad idea, or at least they should delay it to account for more evidence. This would eventually lead to a Xindi civil war, but Degra was one of the first ones to be completely, wholeheartedly convinced that humanity was innocent of the future crime that they were being accused, that they were not going to be responsible for the extermination of the Xindi themselves. So he became the voice for humanity amongst the other Xindi. He was also spoken to state that when he saw the telemetry come back from the probe that attacked Earth and the millions of dead, being a family man, being a father, he wondered how many of them were children. This was something that would weigh heavily on his conscience. And was probably the first step in him believing that his actions were wrong and immoral. Before that, it was all numbers to him, all science and technology, but then seeing the weapon in use, seeing the adulation on the other Xindi, particularly Dolem's face, at the death toll, at the destruction wrought, the sheer power of the weapon, he began at that moment to have second thoughts, throwing himself into his work as a form of distraction, but eventually sensing an opportunity to correct his mistake, to at least begin the healing, to begin to amend the wrong. He became the advocate for humanity and wanted to stop the weapon. Regrettably, in 2154, because of his advocacy of these events and certain other things going on behind the scenes, particularly the Sphere Builders and the Reptilians, Dolem, the Xindi reptilian representative to the Xindi Council, would murder him, believing him to be a traitor to the Xindi. Even though he'd built the weapon, his unwillingness to use it and his cooperation with the humans against the Xindi made him, in Dolem's eyes, merely a traitor, and he would be murdered for this. This, ironically though, would galvanize the other Xindi, particularly the Aquatics, ultimately, to the side of those that were against using the weapon, and became rationally to the belief that the Sphere Builders were actually against them and were trying to harm the Xindi. And that was the end of him. At least his legacy was one perhaps of destruction, and perhaps history would not look fondly on him, especially amongst humans. You can imagine the future generations of humans might have had a bit of an issue with this individual, but at least he died honorably, attempting to fix the mistake that he had made. It doesn't absolve him of the crime, but knowing that he was misled, knowing that what he was doing, however horrific he believed was for the safety of his entire species, was perhaps at least understandable. I just want to take this moment to thank you for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, please check out my social links in the description box below to Instagram and Twitter and others, and also is down there a link to my Patreon page where you can support this channel and the others as I try to grow this franchise and do this more regularly. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and bye bye.